Oh, how many XPS foam bricks I have to cut and craft to recreate the Arkhan's Tower? Well, I think one day in the early future we will discover it. But for now, let's talking about this amazing project. Welcome back on the Ambient channel, and if you're new to the channel, benvenuti. In this week's episode, we will finally talk about the biggest, the huge and epic project that I'm working on right now. That is the Arkhan's Tower. We're talking about, I don't know, thousands and thousands of XPS foam bricks. We're talking about hours and hours of crafting using different techniques, different, tricks, and of course asking the support and the help and the suggestions of you from the community and of some other great crafters from all over the world that actually they are sending me suggestions and tips and anything that I will need to create this epic, monstrous tower. But before start talking about this huge and epic journey, we have to do a time travel right before the pandemic. At the time, I was in Lucca Comics and Game, that, if you don't know it, is the second biggest game con that we have here in Europe. I was so lucky to meet Joe Manganiello during this GameCon, thanks to Stefan Pokorny, the author and the mind back to the Dwarven Forge. I think that you know his products, but he makes the best, the finest modular dungeon tiles on the market. And of course, you will find the link in the box description below if you want to take a look to his product. Anyway, Stefan introduced me Joe during the fair, and together we spent a few hours talking about games, talking about miniatures, talking about his Gary Gygax memorial. If you don't know it, Joe he built in his basement, in his wine cellar, I think, one of the coolest museum memorabilia collection of Dungeons and Dragons pieces. And we're talking about like miniatures and game terrains, of course, Dwarven Forge, and a lot of great things from the past, from the present, and sometimes from the future of the game. And in the same time, Joe, he was one of the main character of Critical Role, of one of the Critical Role campaign, where he played a Dragonborn Oathbreaker Paladin, Tiamat Paladin, that almost at the end of the story, he chopped his hand in a huge cliffhanger of the story. He chopped his hand and replaced it with the hand of Vecna. Well, this story, it became very popular in the D&D community, worldwide community. I don't know what's the story back to this, but we heard about a new campaign book from Wizard of the Coast that is called Descent in the Avernus. This is the Italian version, of course, Discesa nell'Avernus. In this book, they don't offer us too much information about the background story from this amazing character, but they give us a kind of perspective about where he's going after the story that Critical Role told us. He finds his place in the Nine Hells. I mean, I don't want to spoiler you nothing about this campaign because it's a really, really great product, and I totally suggest you, if you play to the 5th edition of Dungeons and Dragons, but you can easily adapt this story to any kind of fantasy roleplay system. But for sure, he built one of the most mysterious and dark places. Well, after a few weeks, Larry Elmore, yes, him, he he visualized and he creates the physical image of the tower. In the same way that Arkhan built the tower, in the same way that Joe imagined the tower, we was talking of a few years ago, right? In the meanwhile, we have the pandemic. We was, you know, all of us was stuck at home, scared, and worried about what happened in the next. And my mind start to escape to this kind of, bad and negative pressure that we have from the media, from what happens around us. My mind start to escape and run away on different projects, huge projects that I had in mind for a long time. And one of these, it was the Arkhan Tower. And of course, before this, I had to ask the permission to Joe, because I had in mind to create this tower, but at the same time, I would like to be really close to the original vision of Joe, of Larry, and so I feel like I have to ask him a small place in his Gary Gygax memorial for my tower. So I drop him a mail, I wait him for a while, and one day he write me back, and he say, of course, please do it. I'm super happy about this idea, this project. And I was like, boom, I mean, finally I have the chance to do this. I want to make it real, I want to make it tangible. He invented the character and he visualized the tower. Larry, he painted the tower. And me, I create the tower. Of course, it's not an official project. You can find it, you will not find it on any shop or in any, it's just a project from a passionate guy to another passionate guy in memory of our beloved and so missed Gary Gygax. So I spent the last weeks thinking about how I can create these 12 levels tower in 28 millimeter scale. So it would be taller than me, and I'm a tall guy. And here we are. So thank you so much for the feedbacks. Thank you so much for the support and for the help. But now, stop talking and let's get in action. I really hope that you enjoyed the video. It's a little bit different video from the classics. There's a lot of, techniques involved, and more of these techniques will come in the next videos that I really hope that you will enjoy too. But for this week is all. I would like to say thank you so much for the support. Stay tuned, because in the next days, in a very short time, I hope, you will see a notification about a new video from the MDM. It will be the milestone video where I will talk about me, about my hobby, about my passion, where I will show you a little bit my, studio, but mostly we will talk about us, about the next projects, about a lot of things. So stay tuned, and thank you once again for your support. Okay, guys, I think that it's all. So have a good week, have fun, have a lot of great time with your family and friends, with your favorite games, and I'll see you in the next. Ciao!